Hi, everybody. I'm going to redo Revelation chapter 2 because when I did them the first time, when I did this chapter the first time, I just read it. And there's so much in here about Paul. And I'm going to prove to you that he is talking about Paul. So I'm just going to read and then I'm going to reference a couple of things. So chapter 2. Unto the angel of the assembly of Ephesus write, These things saith he that hold the 7 stars in his right hand, who walks in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks. I know your works, and your labor, and your patience, and how you can't bear those that are evil, and you've tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and has found them liars. Okay, so verse 2. Say they are apostles and are not, and has found them liars. So this is to the church of Ephesus. Well, who visited the church of Ephesus? Who wrote the book of Ephesians? Now, John also, I believe, went to Ephesus, but he's writing this book. And so I don't think he's talking about himself. And he, of course, was an original apostle that was with Yeshua. He wasn't a 13th self-proclaimed apostle. And no, Judas was not replaced by Paul. Judas was replaced by Matthias, and so you can't say that he's the 12th because of that. And I think that's in the book of Acts, or where it says Matthias. So, continuing on. And has borne and has patience, and for my name's sake you have labored and have not fainted. Nevertheless, I have somewhat against you because you've left your first love. Remember, therefore, from where you've fallen, and repent, and do the first works. So something has happened, and they're not doing what they are supposed to be doing. Maybe it's following the 10 Commandments. I don't know. Or else I will come unto you quickly, and I will remove your candlestick out of his place, except you repent. But this you have, that you hate the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate. So, he hates the Nicolaitans. Now, this is, if you remember from chapter 1, this is Yeshua talking to John, telling him to write. He's basically dictating to John, write these letters to these churches. So who are the Nicolaitans? Well, the Nicolaitans believed in salvation by grace alone. Okay? And it turned into, of course, pure wickedness. They just did whatever they wanted. But I don't know if you're aware of any people that are preaching salvation by grace alone today, but I am. And those are followers of Paul. So you can call it Christianity. That's what I call it because he invented Christianity. But Yeshua hates the Nicolaitans. He hates them. Hates. He uses the word hate. And that is their main doctrine of salvation by grace alone. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the assemblies. To him that overcomes will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of Elohim. And unto the angel of the assembly in Smyrna write, These things saith the first and the last, which was dead and is alive. I know your works and tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Now, this say they're Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. What does that mean? Supposedly, Christianity came from Judaism, and it's this new covenant, right? And so they claim these Jewish roots, but they throw away everything that's Jewish. They throw away all the Jewish laws. And so they're saying they're Jews, but they're not. They're not following the food laws. They're not following the commandments. And if they are following the commandments, they're really only following the last 6. So that is what I think these people who say they're Jews that are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Well, how are they the synagogue of Satan? Well, the names God and Jesus Christ and Lord all have links to Satan. Satan is the god of this earth. Jesus Christ, or Jesus Christos, there were many of them before Yeshua was even born. Tammuz, Dionysus, they could be the same guy, but Mithra, Attis, Zeus, Adonis, they were all born on the 25th of December, which we all know Yeshua was not born on, but for some reason Christianity has perpetuated that. And remember, who invented Christianity? Well, Paul, because before him everyone that followed Yeshua called themselves Jewish because he was Jewish. But Paul came around and said, salvation by grace alone, which Yeshua hates, and he did away with other laws. Fear none of these things which you shall suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. But 10 days. Be faithful unto death, and I will give you a crown of life. So, yeah, you may be punished. Because if he's talking to, this is Smyrna now. Yeah, and he's saying that, some of you are rich, but you're poor, meaning you may have earthly goods, but you're poor. And you're going through tribulation because of people that are blaspheming, using the wrong names, really their titles, Jesus Christ, Lord, God. And Lord, of course, is tied in with Baal. So, I say like sovereign or master instead of Lord. I don't like that word. So, yeah. Be faithful unto death, and then you will be rewarded. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the assemblies. He that overcomes shall not be hurt of the second death, which is going to be, I guess, what we would call hell. And to the angel of the assembly in Pergamos write, these things saith he which hath the sharp sword with two edges. Well, what is the sharp sword with two edges? It's his tongue, Yeshua's tongue. So he's speaking the truth, faithful and true, as I will mention in later chapters, and it's a two-edged sword because people don't want to hear the truth. So the truth will set you free, but it also is something that most people don't want to hear. So there you go. I know your works. This is to Pergamos, and where you dwell, and even where Satan's seat is, and you hold fast my name and have not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you where Satan dwells. And I've got to figure out who this Antipas. If you know, then please let me know if you know the history of Antipas, his faithful martyr. But I have a few things against you, because you have there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam. Okay? Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication. Eating things sacrificed unto idols. Now, we all know that the Ten Commandments, hopefully you know the Ten Commandments, and I mentioned a moment ago the first four that most people ignore. Okay? The first four, you shall have no other hinder gods before me. You shall not make any graven image. You shall not take my name in vain. And you shall remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Those are the ones that people throw out. They say, oh, Sunday, it's cool, when really it says very clearly in that commandment, you rest on the seventh day. So Constantine and his craziness, it shouldn't matter. You rest on the seventh day. You don't work, your servants don't work, whatever. You shall have no other gods before me is pretty clear. It doesn't say there are no other gods. It doesn't say I am the only God. That's why I would say the Most High. It says don't have them before me. And then it says don't carve out any graven images. Now, eating things sacrificed unto idols would be something sacrificed to a graven image. Now, who says, okay, in 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 4 through 8, that you can eat food sacrificed unto idols? Because whoever that is, they have taught the doctrine of Balaam and cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel. And so hast you also them that hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which I hate. So who is he talking about? This salvation by grace alone, eating sacrificed to idols? Let's read 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 4. As concerning, therefore, the eating of those things that are sacrificed, that are offered in sacrifice to idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and there is none other Elohim but one. For there be that are called Elohim, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be Elohim many, and masters many. But to us there is but one Elohim, the Father of whom are all things, and we in him, and one Master, Yeshua the Messiah. Of course, Paul would have been saying Jesus Christ, which is a title which was around before Yeshua was born, and would involve breaking the first commandment. By whom are all things, and we by him. Howbeit, there is not in every man that knowledge, for some with conscience of the idol unto this hour eat it as a thing offered unto an idol, and their conscience being weak is defiled. Oh, you're just weak. You're just of weak spirit. You're defiled because you're just weak. Be strong. Eat, go ahead and murder that person and suck it up. Eat that pork sacrificed to that idol. Suck it up, so people burn their babies at that idol. Suck it up, weakling. That's what he's telling these people. But meat commendeth us not to Elohim, for neither if we eat are we the better, neither if we eat not are we the worse. So he's saying, it doesn't matter, it's okay. He's saying, break the first commandment. So there he is, setting it all up. Setting it up. Synagogue of Satan. Repent. This is Yeshua talking. Repent, or else I will come unto you quickly, and will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the assemblies. To him that overcomes will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receives it. And unto the angel of the assembly in Thyatira write, These things saith the Son of Elohim, who has eyes like unto a flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass. I know your works, and charity, and service, and patience, and your works, and the last to be more than the first. So, okay, well this church has a lot of works. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against you, because you allow that woman Jezebel, which calls herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. I don't know why that sounds like the Catholic Church, or it has to be, because it's a woman, she calls herself a prophetess, and they're eating things sacrificed unto idols. I don't know who else it could be, but because they have that transubstantiation thing or whatever. And I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. And I will kill her children with death. And all the assemblies shall know that I am he that searches the reins and hearts, and I will give unto every one of you according to your works. That makes me think of the, if you watch that playlist, I tell you all about in a future video, but it's really a past video because I'm redoing this one, called Satanic Vatican on Amy2X. There's a couple of videos on Jesuits, and somewhere in there it talks about these tunnels that go. There's a former Jesuit who spoke out against these things, but there's a nunnery and a monastery, I guess you call it a nunnery, convent and a monastery, and there are these tunnels that go between where they would fornicate, because human nature, you want to have sex. It's not natural to not be able to do that, and that causes perversion. And in these tunnels, they were having sex in the tunnels, or they were just burying their babies there, but basically they would either have abortions or kill their babies, and there were just multitudes of baby skeletons in these tunnels. So I don't have any proof of that. This is just a man who was a Jesuit priest who came out and said this. So that's horrible. It's really horrible if that is true. And so that's just what this verse made me think of at this moment. But unto you I say, and unto the rest in Thyatira, as many as have not this doctrine, and which have not known the depths of Satan as they speak, I will put upon you none other burden, but that you which have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcomes and keeps my works unto the end, to him I will give power over the nations. So he's holding nothing against them except the fact that they don't know any better, this church. And that would seem like the Catholic Church, because a lot of Catholics don't read the Bible. And I know this because I've dated Catholics and I'm married to an ex-Catholic. And of course, we all know the history of the Catholic priests not wanting people to read the Bible and fighting to keep it from being put in English. So, and to this day, it's like, it's just common. They just don't read the Bible. They have no idea what's in. I've been to Mass. I've been to several Masses, and they just don't read it at all. They do homilies. They don't do sermons. I mean, they might read a couple verses, but they do homilies from a book that isn't even the Bible. It's just like these pre-planned lessons that come down from the top. I mean, it's worse than the ecumenical Protestant movement. It's just, anyway. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. And I will give him the morning star. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the assemblies. Sorry this is so long. This is an important chapter. Don't deny the Spirit of truth, because that's the one unforgivable sin.